Hello, welcome back to Empowerment and Illness, where we share, learn, and grow together in our journey with chronic illnesses. I'm your host, Gwen. On the previous shows, I've shared my journey with lupus, but I never talk about the people I've met along the way. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, my friend, Miss NikkiAnn. Nikki and I met in a chat group on Twitter many moons ago. Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. I'm just so excited about what you're doing. I think it's
Thank
great.
you. Awesome. So, Nikki, tell us about your story and your chronic illness.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Am I ready?
Yes.
Okay. So, wow. In 2004, I began to feel sick out of nowhere, and I was working at the state capitol, enjoying my job, and started to go through different tests and all of these things, and no one could figure it out. But I was getting sicker and sicker until I went on short-term disability leave. I believe that was like March 2004 or something. That's what I can remember. And at the same time, I decided no one has any answers for me here, but let me go to Atlanta. I have a lot of friends there, family, just a lot to do there, and my friends are all involved in the music industry. But I know they also have some great hospitals there. So I was on leave, feeling sick, just out of whack, and I don't know, always sleepy. This pain, the strong overcoming pain I would have that nothing could stop, and just feeling like I could pass out. Well, while I was there, and I got pregnant. Of course, I'm at the time, because I'm 29 when all of this is happening. I've never been pregnant before. It's all new to me. And I instantly get sicker. So becoming pregnant just triggered the bigger picture of what was going on. And so I actually I remember I had just, oh my goodness, when I had just called my job and was quitting, and they were begging me, because the state, it hates to have to hire people. It's such a long process.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we'll wait however long it takes and everything. And they didn't care how. I'm like, it could be months again. They're like, we don't care. But I quit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this, I'm a traveler. So some of my dates and everything get mixed up in the time frames. I just know it's March 2004. I was sick, and I found myself on the phone. That's what it was, quitting my job and not realizing that I was going to end up right back at home in New England, in Connecticut.
Wow.
Oh, Gwen.
Yeah. So, what was the first symptom that made you realize that something was truly wrong?
The inexplicable pain and sense of wanting to vomit or pass out. um, the fatigue, the bone breaking fatigue.
Yes.
And then once I was pregnant, um, I quit my job. That's what it was. I have it mixed up. I quit my job and then found out I was pregnant. Okay, so that's what had happened. And so, of course, now, you've got Cobra, right?
Yeah.
I've got Cobra, so I've got this bad insurance. I'm finding out I'm pregnant, and I had hyperemesis and preeclampsia for the entire pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
So it was a difficult situation, and my family came and got me. Um, Came back to Connecticut. Was on bed rest the entire time. Threw up every day, all day. I don't mean a couple of times a day. I don't mean 3 times a day, all day. Anything that went in my mouth came out. And I was also on bed rest.
Wow.
And yep, bed rest in one position, like a specific position that I could not move. Is like stay in that exact position. I also had you remember the thing where they do the, it's been so long now, the long needle and everything through the belly.
Epidural? Oh, no.
Not the test that they do to see if your child might have
Yeah, I can't
any.
think of it, but yes.
Right. And I have to ask for everyone's patience because my cognitive abilities, due to my illness, it's starting to change. It's very difficult to find words, and it hurts because I have a degree in English, political science, and whatever the other one was. You see, everything, business
Yeah.
management, and I went to graduate school for journalism. So it is frustrating right now.
Just remember who is interviewing you, so you're preaching to
Right.
the choir.
Because you went there for all of it. All of it. But I I wound up being induced a month early. I had a great doctor. He was like, if you were my wife, I would say go to the hospital right now. So I'm saying go to the hospital right now. And so I went home and ate some bacon. Of course, I'm gonna throw it up, but there was
Yeah.
something about the fact that I knew that it was gonna be a long time before I could eat something. And so, actually, I had the baby. I had it was a natural birth. I was given the pitocin to induce the labor. But other than that, I pushed him out. It took 3 pushes. And so he was a month early. And the doctor had said, having the baby will be the thing that will cure the preeclampsia and the hyperemesis. So boom, baby came out. He was right. Cleared it, cured it, over its grave.
Yay.
But then it was about, because I breastfed my son for 2 years. He was a colicky baby. So I had planned to definitely stay home with him for 2 years. I just didn't trust sending him to anyone who can have more patience with a colicky baby than the mom herself. I just
Absolutely.
felt more comfortable doing it for those 2 years, and he would refuse food. The doctor's like, well, just keep breastfeeding him. Everything we tried to give the baby was like, no, thank you. And so, but it was 1 year in, and so he was a month early, and 1 year in, and my brother was getting married. So I'm in Connecticut, and the wedding would be in DC. It's a hectic time. I've got this baby, and I woke up. I'm at the table for breakfast. I'm like, something's strange. Something's just really not right. And that's when I realized that I was blind in my left eye.
Wow.
I've always had 20/20. I still have 20/20. Never wore glasses. Woke up like something strange. And so that's when it all really started. That's when we were like, okay, something really is wrong. Like I was back to the things I was feeling before the pregnancy, which only exacerbated it. But since the hyperemesis and the preeclampsia were gone, now we're back to that picture of like, what is this thing? And so I was sent to a neuro-ophthalmologist, not just the regular one, and extensive testing. And, I had already had a spinal tap. He did another spinal tap. All sorts of things happened, and he said to me, you're lucky that you woke up and it was only one eye. Some people wake up and it's both eyes. And he wanted me to do steroids. I refused because I was still breastfeeding this colicky baby who was still colicky at one. And I just rode it out with that eye. And eventually it took about a year before the vision came back. But it, as he told me, it'll go in and out. And so right now I can't see out of that left eye again. It just started happening the other day again.
And so going right now, at this point, you still don't know what the chronic illness is, right? It hasn't been diagnosed yet.
Exactly. Hasn't been diagnosed. And so, of course, that means they're sending you to all sorts of people. And when I went to the GI, he was talking to me, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, because you're dysautonomia. I'm like, my what? He said, you're dysautonomia. I'm like, I don't even know what that word is. Could you spell it for me? So he assumed that I knew that I had dysautonomia. I'm like, no, none of the doctors could figure it out. Like my neuro-ophthalmologist thought it would be MS or lupus. He was, he said, it's going to show itself. We're just going to keep at it, but it's going to show itself. You won't have to chase this thing. And so, so that's how I found out. Just randomly, my GI talking and him not realizing that I didn't know I had dysautonomia, which is the dysregulation of the autonomic nervous system. And so everything that your body does naturally that you don't have to think about, you stand up, your pressure adjusts so that you can maintain the standing position. Everything that is automatic for dysautonomics, ours just doesn't work. Either it does the opposite or it does nothing. So if I stand up, my pressure will fall instead.
Wow.
Right? So lots of tests, weird tests, tilt table, all sorts of tests. And they found out that under the dysautonomia umbrella, I had hyperadrenergic postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So with mine, you get a fake high blood pressure number. And so you're at emergency rooms telling people, no, I'm telling you that number's not real. It's going to fall to a fainting point. So I get a fake high number and then it falls. So we have an inability to sustain the upright position the closer to the ground possible. Like you don't even want to be at a hotel at a high floor. You want to be as close as possible, and you don't want any gravity working against you. It's a long day. So I had that portion. I also had the gastroparesis. And that's why I had the GI. Of course, I did the endoscopy, the colonoscopy, all the eating tests that they do. Can't think of the name of it right now. Everything, the full workup. I had a urogynecologist. So I have implants because I can't pee without my remote control implants in my butt cheeks, one in each cheek, and I have a remote control to stimulate the bladder and the pelvic floor. And also we learned that, oh, okay, this gadget is also helping me poop because I couldn't poop. And I get no sensations. So it's like your body will tell you, hey, it's time to go bathroom. My body will tell me nothing. And
Wow.
so, right, you could be in there. He's like, I just dropped 2 liters of fluid in you really fast. Pee. I'm like, I am peeing. I'm trying. Nothing's happening. And he's like, you're not peeing. I'm like, but I swear I'm trying. He's like, that's impossible that you're holding all of that in there. So, of course, he taught me how to use the catheter, all sorts of things. So that's the gastroparesis, the postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, the hypoadrenergic form. But the major condition is called multiple system atrophy, Scheidegger. So multiple system atrophy / Scheidegger, they call it one or the other. And there are 2 types. There's the familial type and the non-familial type. And within my team, I have, especially being in Connecticut, I don't know if anyone knows about Connecticut, but there are a lot of Jews. And the familial kind of dysautonomia is a Jewish trait, dysautonomia. So I had the non-familial, but I was lucky that I had Jewish doctors who understood the Jewish form of it, the Jewish trait. So that was a big help. But still, that was just a couple of doctors. Now, that was my GI and my primary care. But all the other electrophysiology, if I were to go down the list, and you know how it is, the list is long. Specialists that I never knew existed, but I found myself having to explain and teach my doctors because none of them knew or understood. None of them had heard of it. They hadn't even heard of it.
I understand that because when you first told me what it was, I had no idea. Like, I've never heard of it. Didn't even know that was a thing. So I can imagine. Yeah.
Right. Just like just the inability to stand is so important. Remember, at some point I'm blind at the same time. Like, that's happening. I have to force myself, to pee before I used catheters, and then I got the implants and also I couldn't poop, so I have to manually get that out. I can drink water all day. My body will just push it out. It will not hydrate me. So I have to infuse. So I have a port. I infuse 3 liters of saline each week. Also have to infuse certain medications myself. All of this is just to give me a better quality of life.
Yeah.
And to be able to get this body to function enough so that it doesn't, just become toxic to itself. Can't leave all that poop and all this stuff but it affects so many other things. So it's the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So literally, you manually make everything happen.
Yes.
I can't even, like in cognitive things, so you slowly, what will happen is everything will atrophy. Like when I was going for biopsies and things, and I'm like the cells in my lips, because I've had a few lip biopsies, they thought maybe it might be Sjogren's at one point, and it wasn't. But the cells in my lips are dead. And the pathologist was like, I'm just not understanding. It's everything atrophies. All that means is it dies off. So slowly, like my kidney is dead. It's painful. It's still in my body. It's a big issue with all the doctors, and I'm losing a lot of my doctors because they're dying and they're retiring because I've been sick for so long.
I know about that one.
Exactly. I've got autoimmune issues, so that's how you and I connected.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
when we met on Twitter. We met in the chat, and that's when, I was out there trying to find people like me so that I could sort of, find out what's working for them, what's not working. Someone can give me some advice or something. But, that is not the case.
No. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, but everybody, they were passing away.
Left and right.
Yes.
And
Yes. Remember, there was one lady that I bonded with her. Right. She left me a voicemail. And I tried to call her back, and her husband told me that she had just passed away.
Right.
And I was like, what? Like, she just left me a voicemail. And I called you, and I told you, and I said, I'm not doing this. I am so not doing this.
Right.
Because I had a lot of folks, and they were it was just crazy.
Right. I just was amazed at, I don't know, you had, thousands of followers, 1,000+ followers, and you were following everyone back. I felt overwhelmed. I would follow 30 to 60 people, and that was it. And I would be like, how are you doing this? I mean, It's a long day with illness,
but I was amazed. I just kept telling you, like, somebody else passed away. Like, they're leaving. And it was bothering me because I'm learning about lupus, trying to figure out what else is out there to help. And this was what I was getting, and it was terrifying. And I told you, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm not following anybody new. I don't want to know anything about anybody's symptoms. Like,
right.
I'm cutting this off, because it was the woman that called and left the voicemail that shocked and shook me, like, to my core. I like, nope, I'm done. Like, I'm done. And I told you, I'm talking to you, but you're gonna be
Yep.
You're gonna be my person. I'm not talking to anybody else.
Because, I mean, as comforting as it can be, like you're saying, we lose a lot of people as chronic illness patients. And so, and especially, ours are both chronic and progressive and invisible for the the most part. So,
and we've had some close calls ourselves, but we're just
like, we like to, I've had sepsis 5 times. They've always told me, if you leave right now, you're gonna die. Because I always check myself out. I'm like, no, I got sepsis. Cool. I'm gonna head home now.
Well, they told me about me on prednisone. My doctor, my rheumatologist, was out on a conference, and he had someone to substitute for him. And, she just sitting there, and she told me, you're going to die in 5 years.
Right.
I said, okay, I appreciate you telling me that. Like, what am I supposed to do with that?
There's nothing you can do with that.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, are you going to give me a warrant? Like, do I get a warning? You just come out and just say you're going to die in 5 years because you're on steroids? And I've been on steroids. Like, I've had this thing for over 30 years, right? I've been taking steroids from day one. But, I mean, she put it out there. And so, of course, when he came back, I did what I always do. I said, she told me that I'm dying in 5 years. He said, what? I said, yes. And then he's like, let me check to see which one it was. And to this day, I've never seen that woman again, that doctor again. So
Right.
that's what you tell a
Exactly.
patient. You don't tell a patient that they're going to die in 5 years. Come on.
Exactly.
But
Yeah,
we've
but
been
they
through,
do.
yes. And
They
then
do.
my rheumatologist had a heart attack, and I knew it. I knew it. And he came in, and I said, "Your wife is not going to let you continue working." And he's like, "You're right." And then he ended up retiring. I was devastated. I was
Right.
devastated because
Right.
he was a good one, and then you lose them. So that's why I know going through doctors. I know.
I mean, the loss of your team
Hmm.
is devastating because now we've got to re-explain all these things over again to a new person, and and it's important to note that the average chronic illness person is going to bump into the doctor who's going to ask them about their mental health. Like, are you like my hematologist, oncologist, um, said, well, do you like just coming in here because we stick you with needles?
Wow.
Like, what kind of.
Wow.
And he
Wow.
later,
Right?
that that's I was gonna say, that fool, he later had to apologize
Mm-hmm.
once the diagnosis was in, and I appreciated that. And also he had to thank me because he was like, since all I've helped you and all the work I've done with you. I mean, he said he called meetings about my case. He said I have been able to diagnose 2 more of my patients with postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome.
Yeah.
So you and I both know that we were ill during a time where, we are the guinea pigs, and
Mm-hmm.
everything else that everyone else is receiving now is because we were the people they tested everything on.
Yep. On the job training. That's what I
Thank
say.
you. Thank you.
Because
It's
I've
it's
I've gone through a lot of testing, a lot of medication. That's why anytime someone asks me about medications and what
my
works,
goodness.
I tell
Mm-mm,
them I don't give
mm-mm.
anybody advice on that. I tell them
Nope.
what worked for me. I don't know about you because my lupus is different for everyone. So,
Right.
if it worked for you, wonderful. But this is what works for me.
And the body is very individualistic. I'm just gonna come up with that. It is like, of course I go blind in my left eye, and but I take, Plaquenil,
Mm-hmm.
and that can lead to blindness, and you have
Yes.
to follow it with a special type of optometrist.
Mm-hmm.
Testing is long, 3 hours of testing every like 4 months.
Yes.
But and then you'll see I'll have deposits of the plaquenil in my retinas, so that it has happened. And but there is nothing else, and it's just like with prednisone, because I had to take that for some other things, my mast cell activation disorder. um it's we're past the amount of time that they suggest the patient be
Yes.
on it. But when we stop it, we're driving faster to death. You see? So it really is. I give no medical advice at all because each body is different.
Yes. Absolutely.
So it's a personal journey. If you can get support and listen, but I don't make any suggestions to people, and I don't even really tell people the stuff I'm on. I just don't. There comes a responsibility with that.
Exactly.
So many contraindications and all different things. I wound up in the psych ward because my illness comes with a serotonin component. So there's certain medications I was taking, and all of a sudden I began to have, like, I remember sitting in like my psychiatrist had got me in with the psychologist to do group meditation. And we were doing meditation. All I could picture was placing my head in a nice cold sink of water. It just sounded like, oh, so after group, we all got to say, how our meditation experiences were. And I said that, and he said, I can't let you leave now.
See?
I'm sorry? He said, I can't allow you to leave. And, next thing you know, here are the cops in the ambulance. Thank God I'm in Connecticut. So, it was a very nice hospital. It was the best. The food was amazing. I was there helping.
Wow.
Because come to find out, they're like, you don't, who gets kicked out of psych?
We
do. They're like, all we're seeing is a contraindication. You shouldn't be doing this. So I only got a few days there. And I had a great time. It depends on your state, though, and
but
so I've dealt with that.
One thing about us that, when people hear us talk, you and I laugh a lot about things that have happened to us. We laugh about, we were just laughing about, not that the people passed away when, we joined the group. It's right. This is just the way that we try to cope with it, because it's now what else can go wrong? What else can we go through?
Right. And every time we ask, we go through the next thing.
Yes. And
every single time.
Whoa. Whoa.
I just...
And then, you're going through something, and I don't know.
Many strokes.
Yeah, but I don't know until I just get a feeling. And I'm like,
right.
But I need to call Nikki. And then when I'm calling, you're like, I don't know how you do it.
But every time.
Yep.
Every time you're on the mark.
I just felt something. I'm like, I need to call her. And then when you tell me what you're going through, and it's like, wow.
Unbelievable.
But we have that connection.
Yes.
So what advice would you give to someone who is struggling with being undiagnosed or misunderstood with their symptoms?
I would say it boils down to, you have to play it like it's chess. The healthcare system is like a chess game. And you have to be persistent.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to not waste your time at all believing that you might be crazy. At all.
Yeah, exactly.
Never waste your time. That's a bad chess move. Okay? It's tiresome. You've got to go to everyone. Try every specialist. The ones that you never, names of things you didn't know existed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. I've been all the way to Tennessee. I've been, of course, I'm in Connecticut, so Boston is right here, not a long, hour ride. I've been to Boston. At any given moment, I've had 30 specialists I was seeing actively, not like just 30 people you see, once a year. No.
Yeah,
actively.
You've had a lot. Yeah, you've had a lot of doctors.
Right? So, and at one point, it could be, I was, how in the beginning, you're the best patient, right?
Right.
You do everything, but then there's a point where the game changes. And all of a sudden, being the best patient is no longer working. Mm-hmm. Now you have to be more aggressive. Now you have to keep playing it like it's chess, because the healthcare system is a system. And as soon as those doctors leave that room, you are still stuck with a broken body.
Yeah, you gotta
They're
advocate
on,
for yourself. Yes.
yes, I mean,
Yes.
to a degree that may look crazy. I used to just camp out. I knew what time all my doctors would get in, so I'd get there 30 minutes early and I'd sit outside. I'm that patient who, um, yeah, I don't care about calling into your office. I'm
Hmm.
going to be sitting right outside with no appointment waiting for you. You've got to be bold.
Yep. And I say for the new people, make yourself a medical resume. Just put
Yes.
everything down. List all your symptoms. Then
Yes.
list the doctors you've seen and what they've told you. List medications that they've
Yes.
had you on. Because remember, I had a doctor and it was just him. He didn't send me to anybody. He just had me come in his office daily.
Mhm.
I mean, every single day. And
Every
he
single day.
he tried to do what he thought was best. So
Right.
that's why I said you have to be an advocate for yourself. You got to do that.
Right. I mean, the resume part is so important. I mean, even if you only saw a doctor once, put
Exactly.
that on there. Put that
So,
on there. Every symptom you can think of,
yep.
every subcategory of your illness that you can think of, you need it all there and be prepared because your appointments, you, you're only going to get a few minutes to say something. And
Exactly.
really, what you need is about 5 hours. So you're looking for your most important questions. I mean, as we're walking out the door, I continue to ask questions until that doctor is not in sight.
Yep.
Because you've got to steal every second you can get.
Yep.
It's a chess game. And if you don't have, I know we used to say this, like, why couldn't have it just been cancer? Because then everyone understands and no one's going to call you crazy.
Yeah, they
When you
can
have,
figure it out.
right?
Yeah.
With cancer, it's an easier thing. And then, of course, I know that later on, then you did get cancer. And you got cancer.
Look, that's a whole another podcast.
I was like, I can't believe it.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, what more can a person take?
Exactly. But I don't sit down for nothing. So.
Right, right. And with mine, since we max out with multiple system atrophy, Shy Drager, at the age of 62. No one goes beyond 62. So I'm 49 this year, right?
Yep.
And I'm thankful that by the time I was 30, I didn't know the bucket list wasn't a thing then. I was born in 1975, but I had done everything on my list. I had nothing left. I had traveled, I'd done everything I wanted to do. And then I have a son that I hadn't been mapped in or like I got so lucky.
Yeah.
So that while I'm sitting here, I'm not dreaming of anything because I did everything that I wanted by 30. And we max out at 62. And when I say that to people, I say you have to understand, if I was diagnosed at 30, that gave me 32 years. That's a lot.
Well, the way I see it, they told me, or this lady told me, that I was gonna die in 5 years, and
Right.
it's been 30. So I just keep living. I just keep going, and I mean, I tell everybody, lupus can knock me down.
Right.
Cancer knocked me down, knocked the wind out of me, but I still keep going. I keep moving. I keep doing it, and that I will
Yes.
continue to do that.
Yeah. Like,
I'm doing it, right?
she's frying. I remember we're on Twitter, and she's saying she's about. I'm at the store. I'm picking up things. I'm gonna fry some fish. I'm like, and at the time, I'm like, she's not feeling really well right now. Not that we ever do, Every day is a 3 and up. You no longer get a 0, a 1, or a
Oh,
2.
I don't
Okay,
even know what it's like to be at a zero. How do
I
you
don't
have a day
know.
that you're never in pain? Who does that?
Right,
A,
right.
a three, a four is normal.
That is so. It, and
So
it
by the
and
time you
that you have
get,
to get out of bed on a 3.
yeah,
That's a grand day, and you best get out of bed because it's not going to get any lower.
yeah, but if I'm at a 7 or 8, I'm taking some Tylenol or something like that. And people are like,
Right.
"Are you okay?" And I'm like, I'm just, because if I take medication, if I take anything, not just steroids and Plaquenil, but if I'm taking something because I'm in pain, then the pain is severe. Because
Yes.
I do not like taking pain medication. I don't want
Right.
it. I'm not that
Mm,
person at all.
right.
But when I'm hurting really bad, and people know, I'll lay down. That I will rest my body and go to sleep. But I just don't want to take that stuff, and I don't want to get used to it. And people think I'm
Exactly.
crazy. You could just take this and feel better.
Mm-mm. No. No. That's not. No.
Mm-mm.
That's not the way it works, really.
No, thank you. No.
And and it's unfortunate when and I guess people don't know, like when we started, when we met, the doctors were handing everything out like it was candy.
Yes.
I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll just take the Voltaren gel, you know.
Yeah.
But then, with my illness and all the other conditions it comes with, I'm allergic to everything. I'm allergic to my own hair. I'm allergic to light, sound, smells,
Yep.
um, perfume, everything, onions, every food in the world. I go into anaphylactic shock. I've used my EpiPen
Yep.
a
I
lot.
remember.
I've had to use it in the hospital. When I was in hospital, I'm up here dying. My throat's closed, and they gave me a medication that I'm allergic to because they just couldn't get over the fact that, oh, this woman can only take fentanyl. It wasn't my choice that that's the only thing my body wasn't allergic to. So they
Mm.
gave me something else anyhow, and my throat started closing up. No one came.
Yep.
And I had to EpiPen myself, and I always am sure to carry my own IV push Benadryl. And they hate that. They get so upset. But hey, you weren't there. I called. It took you 30 minutes to get there if you gave me something that you knew I was allergic to.
Exactly.
So, like, it's just sad. And so we all struggle to get the fentanyl patch. And there are some of us, morphine, nothing makes me high. That's why I'm like, a body is very individual. I don't get
Wow.
high from fentanyl. I don't get high from anything because of my illness and my makeup, the makeup of my particular body. So there are a lot of us, I just stay in bed. Number one, because when I'm upright, my pressure falls. But number two, because this
I'm
dead
not laughing,
kidney,
but I'm laughing.
right? This dead kidney that's been in my body since 2020. It was dead before then, but since they figured it out, like, it's been 4 years and they still haven't taken it out. And I've lost all of my people who uh,
It was in
remember,
the
I
struggle
taught
with, yeah,
everybody.
yeah, yeah.
So I've lost all the people I've taught, and I literally just bedridden. But I raised my son from this bed. I homeschooled him because I could no longer work,
Yeah.
and I was sending him up to a private school for kindergarten.
I
And
was
then,
about to
yep.
ask you about what, like, what makes you, like, what gives you your joy? Because I know, but you and I've
Mhm.
been through a lot. We
Yeah.
have been struggling a lot. We have good and bad days, but what makes you smile? What makes you, what gives you the strength to continue?
Wow.
And I know it's
Oh my
ice.
gosh.
Yep.
I think I lowered the bar.
No, because I think it's isom. Think about it.
Yeah,
They push us.
yeah. It right. It having to homeschool him. So I homeschooled him from first through 12th from my bed,
Yep.
lying down. Um, that definitely. And you know what? I got some hamsters, which almost that I don't know what, but that helped. So yeah, my son, and those darn hamsters, those
Yep.
crazy hamsters, they kept me moving and going.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was. But I also I taught and I began to I taught him, happy is an interesting word to me. But I go with the peace that surpasses understanding.
Yep.
Now that can bring me to a happy place, meaning I accept that these people around me, everyone I've met, and people when I used to go to the infusion centers, and all the people are dead. Um, Everything I'm around is about death. My GI, he's the head of the colon cancer prevention program. He's like, I'm happy you're the only patient I have that does. I don't have to say, hey, you're dying tomorrow or the next day. And when he says that, his patients are really about to die. It's not going to be 5 years later. And he's laughing. He's like, you don't get, like, that is actually the happy place. Like, I get until 62. I knew beforehand. These people didn't.
Exactly.
There's something to that. And I don't know. I just, the peace that surpasses all understanding.
That's powerful.
That is my happy place.
Yep.
To
Well,
know that we can laugh at
mhm.
things that most people who don't have a chronic illness wouldn't understand what the laughter is about.
Yep. Exactly.
Like, because this illness it's trying to rule my world. And I'm laughing like, you're not gonna get to
Not
rule the
today.
whole thing.
Look, not today.
Not today. Even if I'm still, yeah, you made me bedridden, but
But
I'm still pushing. I'm still
exactly.
fighting, you know?
Well,
I don't know,
Nikki, I
like
can.
jumping, and I always say I'm gonna jump off the bed.
And I
I
always
call
have to
you and I'm
save
like, I'm
you.
gonna jump right off this bed right now.
And I always have to save you. Like, no,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you and
Not
I
off
can
the
talk
top of the
all
house,
day.
but off the bed.
You and I can talk all day. And
Yeah.
I
Yes.
enjoy it, but we have to, before we end this segment, I wanted to remember our practice, and I call it Healing Heartbeats. This is where we
Mm.
give ourselves 3 minutes to cry, scream, cuss, or talk. So we have to do whatever we need to do to get negative energy out. We don't want to just sit there and wallow in sorrow because it'll take hold of us and it won't let go. You and I know all about that.
Right.
So I tell people it's okay to feel depressed. It's okay to feel sorry for yourself, but only three
Yeah.
minutes a day. That's it.
Yes.
And if you
Yes.
continue to practice this daily, it will heal your heart. So,
Mhm. It definitely will. And I do utilize it.
yes,
I
because we
do.
have to. Yes, yes.
Because
So,
it's valid. It's valid.
yes.
Mhm.
But Nikki, you're one of my favorite people in the world.
Oh, I love you.
And thank you so much for opening it up about dysautonomia
Mhm.
and talking
Yes.
about your strength and your wisdom. And I want to thank everybody for joining us on Empowerment and Illness. And remember, you have the strength, the support, and the heart to continue your journey. So, everyone, thank Nikki for being our special guest today and be safe.